Hey there everyone, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new video. Today I'm going to be using products from the Greeting Farm and also Simon Says Stamp, and we're going to create a really cute card that has a fun background. This technique that I'm going to be sharing with you today uses two different stencils to create a masked effect. In today's video, I'm also using the Greeting Farm All Work and No Play stamp set, which features some cute pups in boxes. They remind me of my cats because my cats love to play in boxes. I'm going to stamp these images onto some Hammer Mill white cardstock, and I'm using Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink to do the stamping. This ink is perfect for using with all mediums, including Copics, which is what I will use today to color these in. I kept the coloring a little bit on the simpler side because I like the simplicity of the images, so I thought the simple coloring would go well with that. I did color all of the boxes in the exact same way using some light brown markers, and then I colored some of the little accessory pieces, some bits of paper and this fun little toy. I colored those with some bright colors just for something different and also to match up with the colors that I used in the background. Next up, we've got the puppies, and I kept these on the neutral side because we have a bunch of color going to be added into this project by creating our background. I didn't want the puppies to compete with that. So what I did was picked out neutral colors to be able to let them play nicely together. And as I'm coloring, I'm trying to maintain a nice light area on each of these elements just so that way it gives them some depth. That's really helpful when you're coloring with fewer markers and you're creating more of a simpler look. By making sure you leave a really nice light area, it helps make the image look dimensional without having to add any extra shading. So now I'm going to work on cutting these images out. These are very simple images, lots of straight lines, so the cutting was really simple. And I always find this therapeutic. I could do this for like all day long. It's so much fun to use my scissors to fussy cut, and Simon's detail scissors are perfect for it. They got a really nice sharp point, which is great for getting into corners. So once I have all my images cut out, we're ready to move on to a background. So I have two stencils here. One of them is the Mix and Match Circle stencil, and then the other is Simon's A2 Scalloped rectangles, and they come in a set of many different sizes of scalloped rectangles that fit beautifully on A2 size cards. And there is a little etched line around the edges of the stencil that help you line up your card right in the middle so that the scallop rectangle is perfectly centered. So what I did was I taped this stencil onto my A2 size card so it's not going to move, and then I'm going to take the Mix and Match circles and lay that on top. So this is going to allow me to ink blend that fun circle pattern inside of the scalloped rectangles. And when we take all these stencils off, we'll have a cool scalloped edge with a circle pattern inside. It's really cool. It is like magic when you peel off the stencils and reveal it. I love how exciting it is to see how it turned out. Okay, so here we've got some bright colors. I picked out Simon Says Stamp Pawsitively saturated inks in Grapefruit, Sunbeam. This green color is Sprout. It's a nice medium green, which looks really good with these colors here. I wanted something bright and cheerful. I don't want something that's going to be too rainbowy, just something that's going to add some nice bright colors. So I'll transition that green into Surf, and then finally our last color is Violet. I always like adding a nice pop of purple to my cards. Okay, so we finished up our stenciling of the circles. I removed the stencil, and this is what we're left with. Now we need to finish up those scallops because we need to complete this edge. So what I did was I brought in those same inks, and then I'm just going to lightly ink blend over top of the stenciling just to create a tone-on-tone effect, but really I'm kind of trying to focus most of that color around the edges so that we get that scallop detail. So then after Violet, I brought in Surf, Sprout, Sunbeam, and then of course finishing up with Grapefruit. That completes all the colors, and at this point we're ready to go ahead and peel that mask off and reveal this cool design. So here we go. We're going to take the stencil off, and this is where it's like magic. So you have this really great scalloped edge, and you have those fun little circles inside. So cool. Looks so good behind these pups. I put them on the card with some foam tape. The nice thing about a technique like this of doing the masking of the stencils, you get a really cool background that you've added straight down onto the card. So you're not going to add any bulk. It's not like you've made a separate panel that you have to glue on top, which is really nice. So I'm trying to keep the bulk on the card as little as possible. The foam tape was the only bit of dimension, and then these small pieces I'm getting attached down onto my card using some Simon Says Stamp Craft Tacky Glue. and I'm using my tweezers from Simon Says Stamp to help me get those in place. For a sentiment, I stamped this directly onto my card panel, and I used the same intense black ink that I used for the critters. This is a good all-around ink, not just for coloring, but also for stamping. I wanted to accentuate the words special delivery, so I added these cute little expression marks around the two sides of that greeting just to add a playful touch. It really goes well with the playfulness of the dogs, so I thought I would continue that by adding those little details. Finally, because I can't help myself, I had to add a few sequins. You don't have to do this. The card looked great without them, but I love adding sequins whenever I can. So this mix is Simon Says Stamp's Surprise Party Mix, and it looks great with those colors that I used, and that completes the card. I think this is so much fun to be able to utilize a simple technique of using mask stencils, such as the A2 scalloped rectangles from Simon Says Stamp, along with another stencil to create a fun background. And of course that looks great behind our fun little pups that were created with the Greeting Farm All Work and No Play stamp set. All the products that I used today are listed below in the video description and on our blog so that you can find them easily. I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the project and that you'll come back for more inspiration.
I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at SimonSaysStamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.